الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده. أما بعد فيقول الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه العزيز بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. ويقول الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم نعمتان مغبون فيهما كثير من الناس الصحة والفراغ. Dear respected brothers, beloved elders and sisters in Islam, Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that once again Allah has afforded us this wonderful opportunity to be present here on this blessed day of Jumu'ah to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, we were given an opportunity to fast throughout the month of Ramadan and to perform Taraweeh prayers and to recite the Quran and to do many charitable deeds and good actions. So we make dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah give us the tawfiq to carry on doing those actions outside of the month of Ramadan as well, inshallah. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's teachings are so to the point and they're concise, but they're so beneficial to human beings. And sometimes when we implement those teachings, then there's spiritual benefit, physical benefit, the community benefits, and the whole world benefits. And at times, when we go against those wonderful teachings of the Prophet ﷺ, then I, as an individual, I am put at a detriment. Then I am harmed. Then physically I'm harmed. Spiritually I'm harmed. Emotionally I am harmed. Then the family is harmed. Then the community goes through difficulties. In the whole world, they go through difficulties and hardships. So one point I want to discuss today is this wonderful hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he says, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِّنَ النَّاسِ الصِّحَّةُ وَالْفَرَاغُ. That there are two bounties and two blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that those two bounties and blessings, many human beings, they're suffering a huge loss. And maghbunun, this word from the Arabic language, it means that when a person makes a really bad financial transaction and really bad deal, that the person literally gets robbed in buying that thing. And the person gets literally ripped off when the person purchased that thing. So in other words, the person is foolish and the person makes a huge loss. So the Prophet ﷺ says there are two bounties and two blessings. And the Prophet ﷺ calls it a ni'mah. So this is a bounty and blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Two of them in which many human beings are suffering a loss. Number one, as-sihhatu. Sihhat. It's an Arabic word, it's an Urdu word as well, it's a Persian word, it's understood in many languages. So to be healthy, that's one of the bounties and blessings. And the second one is when a person has free time. So if the person utilizes these two bounties and blessings properly, then the person benefits physically, spiritually, emotionally, and everybody around the person benefits. And when these two bounties and blessings, they're not utilized correctly, that we don't take care of our health, we don't take care of our body, we don't take care of our body parts, then we are at a loss. And similarly with our free time, if we do not utilize it correctly, then neither do we benefit dunya-wise, neither do we benefit in the akhirat-wise and the religion-wise. So alhamdulillah, right now our children, they're going through their summer holidays. Dear parents, dear fathers and mothers, it is my responsibility to make sure that I supervise my children's time. If I don't take care of their time, then they will spend it in the wrong places. If I don't supervise their time, then all day, all night, they'll be on their gadgets. Yes, and I see that one father is nodding at their son like, yes, he's talking to you, son, make sure you pay attention. Fathers, mothers, make sure that we take care of our children's time in the summer holidays. And no doubt about it, these are holidays, they should have fun. But every single day, they should be doing a couple of hours of their schoolwork. Every single day, they should be increasing in their Islamic religious knowledge. So one father's talking to the son and the other one's going, nah, ain't gonna happen that. So two bounties and blessings. So this life of ours, this is a journey towards the hereafter. In this journey, we have to make sure that we utilize our body parts. So I want to focus on today is a topic in the discussion of health, taking care of our health. And they say in the Urdu language that tandurusti hazaru ni'mat hai. Tandurusti hazaru ni'mat, that when somebody is healthy, then it's as if that person has 1,000 blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So dear respected brothers, our body parts, our limbs, these are gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our eyes, our hands, our feet. Those people who do not have these bounties and blessings, those people who do not have these body parts, ask them how difficult it is to live without those body parts and without those limbs. And we see that the Prophet ﷺ, he reminds us in another hadith that al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kullin khayrun. That the Prophet ﷺ says that the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than a weak believer. And there's goodness in everybody. There's goodness in everybody, but there's a huge difference between the two. So this hadith that the strong believer, the word strong, it can be implemented in different places. It has different definitions. One is we are strong health-wise, body-wise, muscles-wise. That is one aspect of being strong. Another aspect of being strong is educationally strong. That we as a community, we should target that every single child of ours, every single son and daughter of ours, we will make an effort so that they graduate from a university. So that as a Muslim community, because we have huge numbers, not only in this country but all around the world, that if as a father, as a mother, I took care not of for the whole world, or the whole country, or the whole city, just my own family, that I take care of them in such a way that I supervise their time, I encourage them so that they all become graduates, Islamic, graduates in a university, or they become Islamic scholars, male or females, whatever. But we have to make sure that we take care of this. So this is another aspect of being strong. Being strong politically. We know that elections are coming up this year. We need to mobilize ourselves. That at a minimum, that the politician knows that I need the Muslim vote. Even though our percentage might be very less in this country compared to others, but we have to let the politicians know that Muslims are important and we need their vote. At a minimum, we try to make sure that they do not say anything against Islam and Muslims. Because we know that in those countries where when the politicians start attacking Muslims, then it becomes difficult for all of us to live like a Muslim in that country. It becomes difficult for all of us to dress like a Muslim, and especially for our sisters. So yes, we have to make that effort, and if we have to spend money, then we will spend money behind those politicians and their efforts to be elected, so that at least they don't speak against us publicly, against the Muslims. So a strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than a weak believer. So dear respected brothers, we have to make an effort so that we act upon this hadith as well. So now when it comes to our health, dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, are we taking care of our health? Are we going out of our way to make sure that we add exercise in our life? We see that the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and others throughout the history of Islam, they took care of themselves because this is a bounty and blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To such an extent that we see that the Prophet ﷺ through multiple hadiths has encouraged us to limit the intake of our food. We see that the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith from Miqdam ibn Ma'di Karib radiyallahu anhu, قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ما ملأ آدمي وعاء شرا من بطن بحسب ابن آدم أكلات يقلن صلبه فإن كان لا محالة فثلث لطعامه وثلث لشرابه وثلث لنفسه. That Miqdam ibn Ma'di Karib radiallahu anhu said, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying, the human being does not fill any container. The human being does not fill any container that is worse than their stomach. It is sufficient for the son of Adam to eat what will support his back. In other words, what will support the body. If this is not possible, then a third for food, a third for drink, and a third for his breath, as narrated in Jami Tirmidhi, and this is a Sahih hadith. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ encourages us to make sure that we do not overeat and we do not waste food just by merely consuming it, because the Prophet ﷺ says that's the worst container that can be filled, and that is our stomach. And the Prophet ﷺ divided it into 3 parts. So obviously it's a bit difficult for us to divide, to make sure that how much we're consuming, is it 1/3 or not, 2/3, are we filling it up with water and food? Well, we know that usually the stomach of a human being, it takes about 2 liters or more of different things in the body, and our food is broken down into ounces nowadays as well. So we have to make sure that we keep this hadith in front of us. And ذكر هذا الحديث لبعض الفلاسفة فقال ما سمعت كلاما في قلة الأكل أحكم من هذا. That once this hadith was narrated to a non-Muslim philosopher, and he said that I have never heard any advice, any good words with respect to eating less than the words of this hadith and the words of this and the advice which is mentioned in this hadith. So dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, we see once again that the Prophet ﷺ 1400 years ago recommended to us and advised us to take care of our body parts and take care of our health. So we even have the concept of washing our hands before we eat, after we eat, and after we come to out of the bathroom and things of that nature, because good hand washing is the first line of defense against the spread of many illnesses, from the common cold to more serious infections such as meningitis and the flu and hepatitis A and many types of infectious diseases like diarrhea and other things. So we see once again how the religion of Islam 1400 years ago took care of our, to give us advice to wash our hands. And not only that, we have the concept of making wudu before we perform our salat. So that's once again to clean our body parts and to be, to be ready for our salat. So dear respected brothers, our body and our body parts, this is an amana. This is a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we will be questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment how we utilize our body parts. So we see that the Prophet ﷺ telling us to use our body parts correctly and making sure that even in our worship, our ibadah, when we're doing it and we go beyond the limits, we go beyond the excess, that we should not be harming our bodies. So this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, ألم أخبر أنك تقوم الليل وتصوم النهار قلت إني أفعل ذلك قال فإنك إذا فعلت ذلك هجمت عينك ونفحت نفسك وإن لنفسك حق ولأهلك حق فصم وأفطر وقوم ونم. That the Prophet ﷺ said to one of the companions that I have been informed that you offer salat all the night and observe fasting during the day continuously. And the person replied, yes I do. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you do so, your eyesight will become weak and you will become weak. No doubt your body has a right on you and your family has a right on you. So observe fasting for some days and do not observe it for some days. Offer salat, tahajjud and other salats which are extra salats for some time and then sleep some time as well. So we see once again in this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ encouraging us that our body parts and limbs, we have to take care of our health and we have to take care of our day-to-day actions by making sure that we try to keep ourselves healthy. At the same time, dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, no doubt about it that we have to rely and we have to have tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But just that trust and that tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it does not mean that we don't make the effort from our side. We have to make effort from our side. Like everything else we do in life, we make an effort every single day. We go to work, every day we're studying, every day we're making effort. We don't just say that, oh, I'm going to let happen whatever happens, and we don't just sit at home. We strive, we struggle. So similarly, whatever we do as if everything depends on us. We make effort as though everything depends on us. Then we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because at the end of the day, everything depends on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we make the effort, and then if there's a result, that's fine. If there's no result, we do not lose hope. But at a minimum, we have to take the action. The Prophet ﷺ throughout his whole life, he showed through his actions how he took the means. He made the effort. When he was traveling, for example, he didn't just walk on the road whenever it was on the streets or on the ground, but wherever it was possible, he used means of conveyance and animals. He shielded himself from the heat. And when he was migrating from Mecca to Medina, he took the assistance of a non-Muslim who knew the way to Medina. So we see here that we don't just say that, oh, everything depends on Allah, I'm not going to do anything. No, we have to take care of ourselves, and at the same time we have reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, this bounty and blessing of Allah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about our health, this is a huge bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the graves, we will be posed 3 questions. And on the Day of Judgment, we'll be posed 4 or 5 questions, depends on how, how many of that hadith how we count questions in that hadith. But one of those 4 or 5 questions on the Day of Judgment is, وَعَنْ جِسْمِهِ فِيمَ أَبْلَاهِ, that a human being will be questioned about their body, that how did our body become old? How did we age in life? So from that, this question also has to deal with how did we take care of the bounty of our health, and did we protect it or not, and did we make an effort to preserve our bodies as much as possible. So dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, these bounties and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the quality of shukr. And there's 5 ways that we thank, we have the quality of shukr. Number 1 is that whoever has given us that bounty and blessing, we submit ourselves to that person. Number 2, we love that person. Number 3, we recognize and we acknowledge that yes, it's a bounty and a blessing. Number 4, we thank that for that bounty and blessing. And number 5, we do not misuse that bounty and blessing. So all these 5 ways of thanking, these are 5 ways of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he says, do 5 things before 5. 5 before 5. And one of those 5 is صحتك قبل سقمك, that utilize your health correctly before you become old. Because once you become old, then you won't be able to do many things. Once you become sick, then you'll not be able to do many things. That we go and visit a hospital and we see that how people, they're sick and they can't walk around, they can't do many things. So that's a way of showing ourselves and encouraging ourselves that we take care of our body parts. And if somebody were to offer us hundreds and thousands of dollars for one of our hands or one of our feet or one of our eyes or our body parts, we would say no. We would say that no, I'm not ready to give money for these body parts. Why? Because we value them and we cherish them. So these bounties and blessings, they're worth millions of dollars, and so that is what we have to realize. So dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, preventive screenings are crucial for us because our eating, exercise habits are not as great. They're not as great. So we should seek the advice of physicians and attend to preventive visits like glucose check for diabetes, blood pressure, risks of heart attacks and stroke, and cancer screening, so that we detect cancer early. So when we detect things early, then it's better for us than we become sick. As they say in the Arabic language, that فَالْوِقَايَةُ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الْعِلَاجِ فَالْوِقَايَةُ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الْعِلَاجِ, that prevention is better than cure. So if we spend more money on education so that children learn to be responsible citizens, we won't have to spend so much money on prisons, because prevention is better than cure. More advice is needed on how to stay healthy, because as we all know, prevention is better than cure. So we can prevent illnesses by maintaining healthy habits and eating healthy foods. It is better to follow the basic rules of health and hygiene and prevent diseases. So dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, that's why as the month of Ramadan comes to an end, and we know that alhamdulillah many of us, we made an effort to cut down on our intake of food, not so that we reach that level where it's harming our body, but just try to cut down. And I don't know about you guys, but alhamdulillah, throughout this month of Ramadan, I lost 15 pounds, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, and I'm still healthy, alhamdulillah. But I have to make effort again to put that weight back on, because if an imam is skinny, then the community doesn't take him seriously. You guys think it's true or no? Or maybe I'm just kidding myself. I'm just fooling myself. So, but whatever the case, inshallah, after the salat, there is a survey being done by Dr. Asim Padilla about health and things of that nature. So dear respected brothers, even as a masjid, we should offer classes and programs on exercise and things related to our health, inshallah, so that we take care of ourselves and we take care of our health, because when we are healthy, then our family benefits from us, and then when we become sick, then everybody's disturbed and everybody's negatively impacted us. So we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah give us a tawfiq to take care of our health and to fulfill this bounty and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best of manners, inshallah.